buy me gas.
Okay, great. We'll go ahead and take questions. Right here in the front.
Question for Johnny. You're back in your hometown of Cleveland, and you get Tom Mitch to coach you, one of your best friends tomorrow. What does this moment mean for you?
It's pretty special. I grew up in Cleveland. Me and Ty, he's here somewhere. He was my. We actually went to the same practice, at 5 years old together. My mom brought both of us. Our moms did. Kind of ironic that you bring that up. My mom, unfortunately, kind of starting off the press conference kind of deep. She passed away when I was 16. But tomorrow I get to compete on her birthday, and that's pretty special. So, yeah, I get to wrestle. I get to wrestle in my home state with my best friend in the corner on my mom's birthday, and that's gonna be fun.
Question for Gable. Do you think the transition from MMA and wrestling going back and forth is affecting you at all?
No, I don't think so. I just think it's wrestling and MMA is pretty much the same thing, just mixed martial arts as a whole thing. Just being out there and competing in wrestling keeps me active for the MMA scene, so it's a great addition.
How soon do you see yourself competing for a UFC championship?
I would like to see it as fast as possible, but I would like to get my reps in, make sure that people know I earn my respect and earn my time in the octagon. When that time comes, I must definitely be ready.
Thank you.
I got a question right here for Gable. This should be the easiest question in the world for you. Your last name is Steveson, right?
Yes.
Okay. I just make sure because I hear it since Stevenson and stuff all the time. So Steveson, that's the only question I got for you because you're the man. Johnny, you are recently engaged. Congratulations, dude.
Thank you. I get two claps?
Yes. You're an actor, you're a business owner, you're an extreme sports guy. What keeps bringing you back to wrestling and RAF, man?
That's a great question. So I feel like motivation is not predicated on external variables. However, like in wrestling or in life in general, a lot of us, kind of a misconception about motivation is external variables should be the driving force. And what I mean by that is, obviously a lot of wrestlers in here, we coach a lot of kids, we work with kids, and we see a lot of kids relying on external motivators like, oh, they doubt me. Or, oh, you know what? My opponent beat me last time. Or, oh, my dad came into practice and he's watching. So I like to think of motivation as fire. We use fire as an allegory all the time. I'm fired up, I'm burnt out. And what does lighter fluid do to a fire? It gets it going for maybe 5 seconds. An external motivator is like lighter fluid. If I am only motivated by doubt, what happens after I win states and now everybody believes in me, right? Lighter fluid can never be your flame. My flame is internal. And the strongest internal motivator in the world is love. I fucking love this shit. I'm spitting a podcast over here, yo.
His press conference at this point.
Question here for Tony. Right here, Tony. This is with Gable Steveson, someone who you've wrestled. How many times is it? 5 times in your college career? So someone you're familiar with. With you staying in the sport of wrestling and Gable kind of, he's one of the greatest of all time, but bouncing around in other endeavors, do you think that's allowed you to close the gap in this next matchup?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big opportunity to see the growth I've had in the last, 4 years since I last wrestled him. Obviously, I've been in wrestling, doing wrestling those whole 4 years while he's been kind of doing other things. So, yeah, it's a big opportunity to kind of see the ground I've gained.
Definitely. And with a lot of people don't know, you have a legit boxing pedigree. I think it was in high school. Do you think that this fight or this wrestling match might even make more sense down the line if you ever transition to MMA? Could you see that happening?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of always something that's been in the back of my mind, potentially. Yeah, I boxed for 7 years. My dad's great uncle's in the Boxing Hall of Fame. So, yeah, boxing, fighting, those types of things are definitely appealing to me.
Thank you.
Question for Izzy, and then I'll have one for Gable. Izzy, Edson Barboza just retired from the UFC, and one of the things about him is they say he has the strongest and the hardest resume, hardest strength of schedule ever in the UFC. I know Tony and Gable have history, but is Tony the Edson Barboza of RAF? Because it feels like every single matchup he's in is just an absolute murderer's row.
You know, it's crazy because we have such a pool of wrestlers that we get to choose from, and if everyone doesn't know, we signed every Olympic champ in 2024. I mean but no matter how badass some of these guys are, you know, they don't want to step up to wrestle certain guys. But just like Will Lewan and Kennedy Blades and Jesse Mendez, I watched Tony Cassioppi grow up. And I watched him grow up since a young man. He was chubby, and then all of a sudden he got really thin and started kicking everyone's ass and was just such a fierce competitor. I've been able to be friends with his father and his mother and his sister I actually trained before. And I just knew their mentality of the type of family and people they are, that they never back down and they always want to test themselves and challenge themselves. So when it was time to find Gable a partner, a sparring match here, a wrestling match, it was a no-brainer because I knew Tony wouldn't say no, and I knew that he's training extremely hard. Even though he's wrestled some of the hardest wrestlers in the world, he's actually done pretty well. If you look at his first match in his first competition, he pushed him, and he was in that match to win. I'm not doubting Gable, obviously, at all, but, you know, we don't like to dog Edson Barbosa because that's just what a warrior and a legend, you know, and I think that's a positive thing when you talk about Edson, right? Like, he's the warrior that's been through the best and battled the best. And hopefully Tony can keep going and challenge the best wrestlers in the world, because that should be anybody's dream to have the opportunities that he's been able to have.
Well said. And then for you, Gable, Tony said that all of your endeavors may have closed the gap a little bit from your previous encounters. What's your response to that, and how do you feel differently here?
You know, I've been on a lot of endeavors, you know, just some crazy ones. But I remember I came back in 2023 to wrestle at the U.S. Open, and I probably practiced for like 3 weeks, and I tech fought everybody in that tournament. And that's just shows you who Gable Steveson is. I can show up at any time, any place, and practice for the least amount of time and still go out there and dominate. And I like Tony as always. We wrestled so many times at college. He's always a fierce competitor, as Izzy says. So all the respect to him. But tomorrow I plan on winning, and I'll keep it moving from there.
This question's for Gable. Drew Blogs here. Gable, whether it's Tony, it doesn't matter who it is everybody that you face here on out just, you know, another stepping stone before you get to steal the belt from Wyatt Hendrickson?
You know, I would love to steal the belt from Wyatt Hendrickson. And you know, I feel like a lot of people keep talking about that match, and I feel like I embarked this on the last time. You know, just not the best match for me, not the best day. I enjoy Wyatt as a wrestler. I enjoy him as a human, and hopefully he can go out there and win many world titles and Olympic titles for USA Wrestling, as long as I'm not there. And but I enjoy his company. I enjoy his competition. Hopefully he does the best for himself.
Asu. Anton Payne, I got a question for you about wrestling Johnny specifically. He's a wild guy, but you come from the fighting world. Is there anything that you think you can do? You're known as the grappler. Is there anything you think you can do on the wrestling mat that's going to give fits to Johnny DeGilius?
Постараюсь все сделать, правильно, бороться, насладиться. Если мой оппонент у меня 1 балл возьмет, я ему шоколад подарю, казахстанский.
I'm gonna try to do everything. I'm gonna try to do my best. I'm gonna enjoy the fight, the wrestling, and I gotta give him a Kazakh chocolate for every single point that he gotta took from me.
All right, great. Last question here.
Asu, question for you, right over here, right in front.
That's a good one.
So you're making your RAF debut. You also recently signed with ACBJJ. Are you planning on taking kind of the Arman Sarukian route, where you're competing in a lot of grappling matches in between fights in the UFC?
Да, везде хочу попробовать. Я в стиле борьбы хорошо себя чувствую. Завтра покажу себя с новой стороны, как бы сказать. И потом будем бороться грэпплинг. Ну, это как бы буду с новым видом спорта, буду ознакомливаться здесь.
I feel good in every grappling, wrestling, everywhere. So I'm gonna try to do everything tomorrow. We'll see.
Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you guys so much. We're going to bring up group number 3. Vladimir Kanjinkashvili, Jesse Mendez, Evan Wick, and Jason Nolf.